ketogenic diet emphasizes food in natural, healthy fats, moderate protein, and restricts carbohydrates to about 2 to 5%, as compared to the typical American diet, which contains 40 to 70% of the calories from carbohydrates. Carbs and fat are our body's two sources of fuel. A low-fat diet is higher in carbs. When you eat more carbs than your body needs, your blood sugar spikes. When your blood sugar spikes, it will produce insulin to try to regulate the blood. This turns off the fat-burning process and turns on the fat storage process. With the ketogenic diet, you transform your metabolism from one that stores fat into one that burns fat. By eating a diet that is high in fat, moderate protein, and low in carbs, your sugar normalizes and your insulin returns to a normal level. This turns the process of fat storage off and turns the fat burning process on. So, is a low carbohydrate, high fat lifestyle another diet fad? Where and how did it start? It's my belief it's not a fad, but a lifestyle we were designed to use and survive. In the book, The Art and Science of Low Carbohydrate Living, the author suggests current evidence can be traced back to human ancestors in places like Alaska and Africa. It then spread across the globe at times of migration. The low carbohydrate diet gave us the ability to survive by fasting while hunting and gathering. The authors also traced the introduction of agricultural carbohydrates such as wheat, rye, and potatoes into different regions and shows how our ancestors had little exposure to high proportions of carbohydrates until 1,000 to 2,000 years ago. They continue to suggest that carbohydrates are the culprits of the United States becoming the most obese country in the world. I tend to buy into this explanation of our problems of obesity, metabolic syndrome, inflammation, and type 2 diabetes. As mentioned, our bodies have the ability to use glucose or fats as fuel, but not both. A sugar burner has about 50 to 90 grams of glucose in the liver for energy conversion, which isn't a lot. The body also has the ability to store glucose in the muscles. The amount of glucose storage varies by individual, but is also a limited resource. When I was a sugar burner, I would have to continuously feed my body carbohydrates every few hours, or I would get what I would call hangry, a condition of being hungry and angry. This was my body telling me that it needed more glucose for fuel. Once I made the switch to become a fat burner, I no longer get hangry. In fact, I sometimes have to remind myself to eat because my body is able to use the existing fat storage. I call it my internal grocery store. The amount of carbohydrates allowed to make the transition from a carb burner to a fat burner is different for everyone. But the rule of thumb is somewhere between 30 and 60 grams of carbohydrates per day. Later on in the course, we'll discuss the best ways in which you can zero in on the tolerance of carbohydrates and still be in nutritional ketosis, i.e. fat burning mode. Since we're on the subject of carbohydrates, let's take a couple of minutes and talk about macronutrients. Protein, fat, and carbohydrates are our macronutrients. Both protein, which gives us our amino acids, and fat are considered essential, meaning our body cannot produce them and it's essential that we get them from our diet. On the other hand, there's no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. The minimum amount of glucose our body might need can be produced by the body from protein and fats.